Feel free to sing along and clap your hands. We're going to do This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, yeah. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh yeah. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh yeah. Everywhere I go, you know I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, yes, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, yes, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine everywhere. Thank you.
Good morning. Let's join in a time of prayer together. Thank you for this bright, sun-shining day. Every breath we're able to take on our own. And this time to be with one another and share the enjoyment of life, the enjoyment of growth, the enjoyment of being in community with others. This is a blessing that we should not take for granted, and we don't. So it is. Thank you, God.
Good morning. And the first thing we're going to do is have Mina come up to light the Christ candle. Because we can see the light within this young person. And so we're so happy that she volunteered to do that today. Come over here, Mina. There's no training necessary. She knows what to do. Thank you, Mina. So let's come up front and receive a blessing as we see the beauty within you. Thank you for being here. So together, Tamina, you are a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally, just the way you are. And if that is true for Mina, that is also true for all of us. So let's say it for ourselves. I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. Thank you. So now, let's have the other children come forward. And we will bless them as they go to their particular area. So,
A beautiful child of God, a wondrous spirit of love and peace. My light will shine forever. I'm a beautiful child of God. You're a beautiful child of God, a wondrous spirit of love and peace. Your light will shine forever. You're a beautiful child of God. We are beautiful children of God. We are wondrous spirits of love and peace. Our light will shine forever. We are beautiful children of God. We are beautiful children of God.
isn't it nice to have the young people up here and reminding us of who we are, because we forget sometimes, as Jean and I were saying today, how we forget. Now, we want to make sure that you know that we want to welcome all of you. We're happy that you are here. Those who are here in the seats, right here with us, and those who are viewing online. We truly appreciate you. Thank you for being here in person and there. Let's welcome our chaplains. We have here, who do we have? Cheryl is here, and Pat, with 2 P's, is here. And they are available to be here with you after the service if you have any concern. Doesn't have to be something where you're worried about something or you're sick about something. It could be where you want to celebrate. They will be available right up here to meet with you. And everything is confidential. We so appreciate you, chaplains, and thank you for being here. My name, in case you were wondering, I have not said it yet, my name is Phyllis Flemings, and I am really happy and honored to have this opportunity to do this service today, to be your service assistant. So I'm excited. Thank you. We also have Gina. We've seen her before, and when I looked up and saw her this morning, I thought, wow, she's going to be here to give us her wonderful music today. Thank you, Gina, for being here. You are in for a treat today. We have James, who will be giving the talk. He is new to our congregation. He is a new member, and I remember I was at the meeting when he came and he joined, but he's not new to this work. And let me tell you a little bit about him, and I was going to just tell you off the top of my head, but you know what? It's so nice when you get it right, isn't it? So, James Moreno, he's a transformational leader and co-author of the best-selling book, Awaken the Amazing You. Awaken the Amazing in You. The former spiritual leader of Unity of Grand Rapids, Michigan. He has been a practitioner of prayer for spontaneous healing for over 25 years. He barely looks 30, right? He started when he was a mere child. Through his personal shamanic practice, the development of water ceremony, and his study of New Thought principles, James brings a unique perspective to the pursuit of carrying on the work of healing through affirmative prayer. So we're happy to have James with us. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Thank you for being here. As we move along, our community highlights. So blessed today, I only have 2. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, save the date. The spring tea is Saturday, May 6th. And April 2nd, you will need to purchase your tickets, and because they need to know how many people will be there. And what's going to be so much fun is that the men will be serving the women. Won't that be nice? Although a lot of you do that anyway, but anyway, we appreciate that. The tickets are $30 per person, adults only, so no children. The tea team is in need of help before and after the event. So if you would like to volunteer to lend a hand, plan on attending a planning meeting right after the service today. We have volunteer opportunities. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities. It is such a joy to be able to volunteer. And even though we may come to you and ask you to volunteer, that's still volunteering, even though you say, here she is again. But anyway, we would appreciate you checking out at the desk to see if there's something you would be interested in doing. We want to make sure that your talents are available and that you can use those. You don't want to hide them under a bushel. We want to be able to share. Now, our next thing on here would be Gina is providing music. I've introduced the prayer traps and the community highlights. And before we do that, let's do our statement of faith. I think that's important. What do you think? Okay, let's do our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good. And that is so true. Thank you.
I chose this song to sing today because we all have trials and tribulations, but this reminds us that God is always with us. Beautiful. What do you do when you've done all you can and seems like you can't make it through? And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone, alone? Tell me, what do you get when you've given your all, yeah, and it seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past? Tell me, how do you deal with that shame? And how can you smile while your heart has been broken and filled with pain, filled with pain? Tell me, what do you give when you've given your all? Seems like you can't make it through. Child, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand and watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after after you've done all you can, you just stand and be sure. Be not entangled in that bondage again. You just stand and endure. For God has a purpose. Yes, God has a plan. Tell me, what do you do when you've done all you can, and it seems like you can't make it through? Child, you just stand. You just stand. You just stand. Don't you dare give up. Through the storm, stand through the rain, through the hurt and through the pain. Don't you bow and don't you bend. Don't give up and don't give in. Hold on, just be strong. God will step in and it won't be long. After you've done all you can, after you've done all you can, after you've gone through the hurt, after you've gone through the pain, you've prayed and cried, you've prayed and cried, you've prayed and cried, you've prayed and cried. After you've done all you can, after you've gone through the pain, after you've done all you can, that's when you stand. Whoa. Just stand. Thank you.
Good morning. It's an honor and blessing to be here today. I wanted to give you some information about me today because it's the first time that I'm speaking here. Reverend Dahlia has already made it very clear that she wants me to speak here even more often. So we're looking at that for the future, which is a great honor to be told that before you've even spoken once. So I do have a lot that I want to share here. But first of all, I just want to say that, in doing the classes for becoming a member here, it's just the story of this place is just so brilliant, so great. And it's, I'd like to see a show of hands for people who attended when we were gathering at the bus station. How about when this church was gathering at the mortuary? It's brilliant. The personal stories that I heard in those classes were worth being in the new member classes for the 6th or 7th time. I always enjoy them, and I think people that have been here for a time should attend them again when new attendees are in those classes, because the stories are not the same every single time. They do new bits of information. Maybe even if you've been coming here for 20 years, may not know little bits of information that give you a clearer picture of how great the story of this community is. This welcoming, the welcoming that I received here is just, I am a unitic. I love unity, and I go to a lot of different unity gatherings. And what is here is just truly something special. If you have only come here and you have not gone to other unities, you might not know what you have here. And so I think that you should know. This is a great place. The buildings are great. The people are great. And the strength of the community is something that's special. Really good. So know that. A man, he goes to his doctor. And he says, "Doctor, I'm really worried about my wife. She's not paying attention to me I ask her questions and she doesn't answer me. And I'm just worried about what's happening with her." And he said, "Well, okay, this is what I want you to do. Go home." It sounds like maybe she's having some problems with her hearing. So I want you to go home and stand 20 feet behind her and ask her a question. And then move another 5 feet and ask her a question. And try and gather, the depth of what she's going through. So he gets 20 feet behind his wife and he says, "Honey, what's for dinner tonight?" And she doesn't say anything. He moves another 5 feet forward and he says, "Honey, what's for dinner tonight?" Again, nothing. No response. He moves another 5 feet forward and says, "Honey, what's for dinner tonight?" Nothing. And he's just exasperated at that point. So he goes right behind her and he says, "Honey, what's for dinner tonight?" She's there chopping vegetables. And she said, "You've asked me that 4 times now, and it's meatloaf. It's going to be meatloaf." Our perspective of ourselves sometimes is unique to us, but not too unique to others. Our ability to see where we're at and what we're going through is something that is a part of unity. We're told to go into the silence and check where we are for the reasons of knowing ourselves and receiving information that's within us. The Christ within us will speak to us, is what we're taught, if we take the time to listen. One of the stories that I told about myself many times is my father passed away when I was 8 years old. And that story has been in me since that day. The story, how it originally was presented from me to others, was that on that day, I just wanted the world to stop for a moment. I wanted people to understand how important life was. I wanted people to understand to not take things for granted. I wanted people to understand that they should be nice to themselves and they should be nice to others. My sister's here, and it's like falling off your bike and you being okay, and then you see your sister, and I'm going through that right now. That was my story. My childhood ended, and this was no longer a dress rehearsal. It was something that was serious, and I needed to do things in life. I needed to accomplish things in life, and I needed to move forward in that way. It's serious business. Another story that I tell about myself is that after that happened, I really knew that I wanted to be on a spiritual path. I had another sister who, during my father's illness, spent much time at the hospital and decided that she wanted to be a nurse. And she became a nurse practitioner eventually. She's one of the only human beings on this planet that I know that decided what they wanted to do and just went and did it. You know, she just knew what she wanted to be. And I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And so she just knew what she wanted to be, and she went and got it. At my father's services, there was a preacher, a priest, actually, Father James Waters. He had just come from Ireland, the poor guy, in 1972. In 1972, in July, when we were having the services, it was 114 degrees, 115 degrees. It's like one of the hottest summers on record that we ever had in Stockton, California. He said when he got off the plane and walked on the tarmac, he felt like he entered the gates of Hades. Father Waters was an interesting figure because he knew what we were going through, and we didn't know him. I found that fascinating, that he knew who we were and what was happening to us at that moment. He intrigued me. I wanted that. I wanted to be that in life. So I became an altar boy. And so my spiritual path began. One day when I went to the church, it was the Easter Sunday, I had been called by another priest the night before and said, "We need you to serve tomorrow." I said, "Sure, I'll be there." So I get there, and there's these boys with very fancy robes, and I went to go get my very plain robe out of my locker, and this other priest comes bounding up. "What are you doing here?" I said, "I was called to serve." "We don't need you," was his way he spoke to me. And so I put my robe back up on the hook and went and tried to find my family on the most crowded day of church ever, and I never went back to that locker again. That's my story. That was my story of that event. And so those stories hung with me in that manner for a long, long time. But, you know, when I started coming to a different understanding is when I would actually look at myself creatively. Like, who am I and why do I feel the way I feel? You know, we want to have a satisfying and happy life, all of us. And there are things and times and turmoil that comes our way that can bring twists and turns. But there's regular, ordinary moments that also do that. For instance, I was driving, I had a live mic moment. I was driving and having a Zoom gathering that I have with East Coast writers. We've been meeting for 2 years every Friday morning, and And on this particular day, I had to start the Zoom meeting in my car. And I don't do it with video. I just listen. But I was unmuted, and I'm driving down this like a short highway, and all of a sudden, I'm probably doing, I think it's a 60-mile-an-hour zone. I was, on that day, going the speed limit. And I noticed this truck next to me, we were kind of side by side. And the light was green, and all of a sudden I see like a hesitation of this truck, and so I hesitate too. And boom, this car goes right past us, like through the red light, and just was doing probably 80 or 90 miles an hour. And just because I was paying attention, and this other truck kind of alerted me, what they were doing kind of alerted me, we didn't get hit by this car. But with the live unmuted mic on my Zoom meeting, I started cussing. I was embarrassed at that moment, but, hey, it just happened. I thought about that, and I'm talking, this is recent. I thought about that for a while. I took it into prayer. I took it into silence. And I just asked the question, how can I react to that differently? And I really just didn't want to have that reaction automatically, like this kind of road rage kind of thing. And as I was in the silence, I was thinking about, why am I cussing at this person? Why am I cussing at this person? And it came to me in the silence, you were not cussing at this person, you were cursing them. That's different. That feels different. That's a different realization of myself. I was cursing them. I don't want to curse anybody. So as I continued on in prayer, I decided that what I would try to do is replace cursing somebody and using the power of my language in that way to do something else. So I had to think about it. And I decided that I would try to instill a new way. I would try to say, instead of cursing, thank you for my safety, blessings to your life. And I do that. I've changed that. And, I hang around a bit with Maisie nowadays, and Maisie will tell you. Yesterday, we were driving from from Fairfield back to Vacaville, and a car passed us at like 90 miles an hour on the shoulder of the freeway. He was coming straight for me. I didn't say anything because I could see it in my rearview mirror, and I didn't want to startle my passenger. But he was coming right at us, and he just, at the last moment, just went around us onto the shoulder. And what did I say? I said, thank you for my safety, blessings for your life. It is a new way for me. It is what I replace that curse with. Jesus, the way shower, said, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. But what if you don't love yourself? Then what do you do in this world? So what I see when I'm trying to do these things and replace my old intentions with my new intentions is to love myself more. Some people don't love themselves. And some people just tolerate themselves and tolerate others. There are people that do love themselves. And then there's people that only love themselves. You're laughing because you know it's true. I take it. Emily Cady wrote in Lessons in Truth, suppose that a dozen persons are standing on the dark side of a wall in which are various sized openings. Viewing the scene outside through the opening assigned to him, one sees all there is within a certain radius. He says, I see the whole world. In it are trees and fields. Another, through a larger opening, has a more extended view. He says, I see trees and fields and houses. I see the whole world. The next one, looking through a still larger opening, exclaims, oh, you're all wrong. I see the whole world. I see trees and fields and houses and rivers and animals. The fact is, each one looking at the same world sees according to the size of the aperture through which he is looking. And he limits the world to just his own circumscribed view of it. And so I'm trying to broaden my view as I go through my work to understand myself more, to have a new way of treating myself in this world. The last weekend, I went on a trip and our flight was delayed coming back. And so instead of coming back in a nice early, 6:30 p.m., we're coming back and it's after 10:30 and I have to be at work early and I still have another thing to do before I actually go to bed. And I'm feeling all this stuff and I'm just like there's stuff going through me, right? And I'm actually kind of speaking with an edge, like, let's go do this. Let's just move this way, and there's something going on in me, and so I actually just pulled the car over before leaving the airport parking lot, sat for a moment, and said, "I'm feeling stressed because I'm dreading not having enough sleep. I'm dreading having another thing to do tonight instead of going home and going straight to bed." And after I said that, after I just made that clear to myself and my passenger, I felt better. I was able to laugh just a moment later. It was an understanding that I had to have inside myself by looking at what my feelings were and how I was dealing with life. I feel every time that I talk to a Unity crowd, especially when there are elders, people that have lived more life than I have, like I'm preaching to the choir. But I know you, like me, has a built-in forgetter. And so the things that I'm saying are the right reminders to myself and the reminders to all of you, because I know you know what I'm talking about here. So one of the things that I have worked on in my life are my tikkuns. This is a phrase that's a Hebrew phrase that was given to me by a mentor of mine, a woman named Deborah Poneman. She created this organization called Yes to Success, and it's not like it sounds. It's about successfully being happy and rooted in our lives, the way that brings us joy. So these tikkuns, the word tikkun is actually a Hebrew phrase, means to fix or to change. And so as I look at these things in my life, I find where my story is something that is of difficulty, something that bothers me, something I might have resentment about, something that I have just unease about, something that I is a roadblock to me loving myself so that I can love others. And so let me tell you my news stories about those two stories I told you. My news stories are that, in fact, the blessing of losing my father at 8 years old is that I'm pretty playful. I play with life. I enjoy life in a childlike way. That is one of my strengths in this world. And I use it in a spiritual way. My spiritual way is to just have fun. I'll walk through the store and go through the water aisle and bless every bottle of water that anyone who touches this water is going to be blessed with good health and good fortune and feel so good within themselves. You could go to the Nugget right now. It's the last one that I did in Vacaville, and probably get one of those blessed bottles of water. When I see a bird, in Michigan especially, I'd never seen cardinals before. I'd not lived in a place where there were cardinals, and cardinals are just stunningly beautiful. These beautiful red birds, especially in the snow. This beautiful red bird comes, and it's just against the background of the white snow. It's just so beautiful. But I play this game in this world about seeing things that are beautiful, and then I try and see everything else around me with that same beauty. I looked at all the gray birds and the brown birds until I saw that same beauty that I see with that beautiful red bird. It's one of my games in life that I play. It's very childlike. I'm recognizing that now. The story with the priest that said, "You're not needed," that actually, in this life, had a very, very profound full circle moment. Because as I went off and when I hung up that robe, I started talking to Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses that came to the door. I went to ashrams. I went to Hindu temples. Anything that I could get my hands on about spiritual path, I started reading those things. I knew about the Muslim faith. I would tell my friends, "Do you know that the first book of Judaism, Muslim, and Christianity is the Old Testament?" Like, I discovered that as a child. Wow, that's weird. That's weird. They're all based on the same first book, and then they just kind of branch off from there. Like, these discoveries that I was making were exciting to me. And I wanted to know how people celebrate the Sufis and the whirling dervishes and of the world. I wanted to know about all these things. It was just so fascinating to me. It was what I wanted from knowing Father James Waters. I wanted to connect to people. And so that story changed with time, because it became a blessing in my life that I learned all this stuff. I just was so happy inside and rooted in all of these things. When I came to Unity, I was like, "Oh my God, this is great. Everybody's welcome. Even if you have no faith in, or if you had no dogma, you can still come here." I just love that. But after 9/11 happened, I was deeply rooted in my shamanic path. That's what I call home. That's my spiritual home, is on the shaman path. And so I had been doing these ceremonies, and somebody saw or attended a ceremony that I had, and they called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to celebrate after the first anniversary of 9/11. We want you to do the prayer on the courthouse steps." So I did the prayer for the celebration. I did the opening prayer for the celebration on the courthouse steps of my city. And somebody else saw that and said, we're having a interfaith celebration for Thanksgiving, and we want you to be the main speaker. This was on the phone. They called me at 9:11 at night. I remember seeing that going, 9:11, wow, who's this? And they asked me to come. And I said, yes, can I burn sage? Because that's part of my cleansing. And they said, yeah. It says cleansing of the spirit, and then I'd like to do some prayer, and then I'd like to do a talk. And they said, yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly okay. This interfaith thing is going to be represented by, there'll be Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists and everyone there. I said, great. Where are we going to have this? The very church where I was told I wasn't needed. What a turn of events to see the priest that talked to me that way and how grateful I was for him. So, what are these things? What are the things that are keeping you from loving yourself more? From being a part of your community in a greater way? Because these things, if you do not seek this way to love yourself, then you keep your gifts from others. If you love yourself, you're more open and willing to share of yourself with others because you are unique. Your message, your story, your abilities are needed. And it becomes easier to share and be a part of others if you love yourself. You can love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself in a deeper and richer way. It's important. I'm going to read one little thing. I'm going to give us enough time, I swear. And let me tell you another little part of this story. Today, I emailed myself the wrong notes. So I totally did most of this on the fly. So, but I wanted to read one thing. It's by James Dillett Freeman. It's a poem called Rivers Hardly Ever. Rivers hardly ever run in a straight line. Rivers are willing to take 10,000 meanders and enjoy every one and grow from every one. When they leave a meander, there are always more than when they entered it. When rivers meet an obstacle, they do not try to run over it. They merely go round. But they always get to the other side. Rivers accept things as they are, conformed to the shape they find the world in. Yet nothing changes more than rivers. Rivers move even mountains into the sea. Rivers hardly ever are in a hurry. Yet is there anything more likely to reach the point it sets out for than a river? We can give ourselves blessings for our yesterdays without exception by healing the story we tell ourselves. It will activate our eternal opportunity to begin again, giving tomorrow the inexhaustible supply and unfailing, ever equal presence of the Creator within us in all of our circumstances. And I'll close with a saying from Lao Tzu. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. And so it is. Thank you, God.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone, and all the plans they made put an end to you. I woke up this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. You just gotta see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I'm not gonna make it any other way. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Been walking my mind to an easy time, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line to talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines are pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you one more time again. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things going around my mind. Thought I'd see you fire and rain. There's just a few things going around this time. Thought I'd see you fire and rain now.
So let's take a moment to take a deep breath. Be in this beautiful moment together. On a beautiful sunny day where hard work and effort has built this room for us to enjoy being with each other. The tree, it connects to the ground through its roots. It's a part of the entire earth beneath our feet. And as it makes its way into the sky, leaves connect to the sky seamlessly. And so do our roots. So does our skin. We are a seamless connection to all that is. The things that we know in our lives that have been helpful, and the things that we've had to learn from. They're all connected. And as we give them away, we can allow them to be a part of the universe in a positive and productive way. Enjoy another deep breath. We enjoy the connection to all things and the abundance of all with love and gratitude for the miracle of this life. And so it is. Thank you, God. We bring up the lights. Can you open your eyes? Be present. Share in the blessings and prayers together in the singing of songs.
Thank you. And thank you. Will the ushers come forward, please? This is our time to give. We open our hearts and we give gratitude for the time that we have here and on this planet. If you look at the board there, you will see, those of you who are looking as you're online and those of you who are here, there are different ways that we can give. We can do the text to give, and it gives you tells you how to do that there. There's a telephone number that you can call. Very easy, according to what it says. So you can do it that way. You can also go on our website, and then you will see an orange-looking button there. At least it was orange. It may have changed colors. But anyway, you'll see donate. You can use that. And you can also do what I'm going to do, which I had planned on bringing it up here, but I will get it to you. You can give a check. That's always easy for me. So there are ways that we can give. So thank you, ushers, and we will now give our donations. But before we do, we are going to bless our tithes and offerings. Together, let's say, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. I am grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful.
And now, we will give the affirmation of divine substance. And together, the abundant resources of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. This is now and here manifest. Okay, I think the next thing we're going to do is our peace song. So if we would sort of stand up and we could get in a circle, hold hands or not, and get us a chance to see each other as we sing the peace song.
Be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Power of God protects. Power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. We are one holy family. We celebrate our oneness and honor our diversity.
And the closing affirmation for the week is, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Thank you all. Thank you. Yes,